America at Home is one of the largest photo projects in internet history. Over 250,000 snapshots of life captured on camera, all submitted. Rick Smolan is the creator of the book and is here to share some of his favorites. I think that's so nice. You know, it is a snapshot of everyone's most personal moments.
You know, whenever there's a house for sale in our neighborhood, my wife and I always like to go over it because you're sort of curious about your neighbors.
Exactly right.
And we sort of did that on a nationwide level. We sent 100 of the best photographers all over the United States for 1 week, and we asked them to capture the emotions of homes, not architectural digest, it's all the rituals and traditions and ceremonies, but then we invited anyone from the public with a digital camera to also submit pictures. So we were at an amazing variety, and amazing, people just welcomed these photographers into their homes and said, we want to leave a time capsule for our great-grandchildren of what life was like in America in the course of a single week.
It's so different in each home. I can always remember in Moonstruck, when he said, I've got to go to the kitchen. We can't talk about, you know, and my father was the same way. We have to go to the kitchen to discuss things. And that was the center of the family. And, you know, eating breakfast or eating, you know, whatever. And that is probably intimate in each family that you saw.
You know, it's funny, my daughter's 7 years old, just turned 8. Her name is Phoebe. And she and her little brother Jesse keep talking about sleepovers all the time. So Phoebe went for a sleepover last May, and she came back the next morning, and she survived her sleepover. And I said, what was the coolest thing about your night at your friend's house? And she said, Dad, did you know that people's lives are different than ours? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, we went to bed at a different time. We could eat Cheerios for dinner. She was so excited. She said, you know, you and Mom should do a book about how people's lives are the same but different in their homes. And that was sort of the genesis of this whole project.
And
really
you get a chance to teach kids that way. And through the book, probably can do that as well.
Kids love this book. And one of the things that's particularly fun about it is that if you have a great picture of your family or of a black and white picture of the house you grew up in, you can go to our website, and you can. It's www.myamericaathome.com, and you upload a photograph.
Right. I love this. This is
you upload a photograph, and 2 weeks later in the mail, instead of our cover, it's your family on the cover of the book.
That's awesome.
With your own caption. And people are so excited about this. We did another book called America 24/7 a few years ago.
Right.
It's one of the things people love the most about it. We also learned some amazing things about Americans. American school children get an hour less of sleep every night now than they did 30 years ago.
Right.
Most Americans live within 50 miles of where they grew up. The one that I thought was very amusing is 80% of men would remarry their wives, but only 50% of women would remarry their husbands.
Well, that makes sense.
Was kind of interesting. I also wanted to mention that the way that we actually got the word out to the public is IKEA is our sponsor, and IKEA invited 5 million Americans to send us photographs because they've been sort of studying how people relate to their homes. And the thing that amazes me so much about this project is when you sit down with your kids and you go through the book, it provokes all kinds of conversations. You know, your kids say, why do they dress like that? Why does the home look like that?
Sure.
So it's like it's one of these sort of thought pieces that it's a wonderful thing to just sit down with your family.
Did you notice, because I've read recently where the extended family has become more in vogue because grandparents are staying around.
So 3 generations in one home.
Right, exactly. And we're finally using the sense to use their knowledge and their experience. Their wisdom. Did you notice that in the pictures?
Very much so. I mean, you could see many families where there was a wonderful picture of a grandmother. There's like a timeout bench in the book.
Oh, really?
And the grandmother's kind of, admonishing her grandson, and he's going, I won't look at you, he's sort of turning away. The pictures really, I don't know if we're able to share some of the pictures with your audience, but they make you feel like you're literally allowed to sort of walk into somebody else's home and meet them and learn about them. We also, by the way, have wonderful, insightful essays by Amy Tan, Matt Groening, David Pogue, etc. So it's a wonderful book. Great Mother's Day present.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for coming in. To find out more about America at Home, head to our website, WCBSTV.com. Click on the links and numbers, and we'll link you right in with Rick there. Mary?